So in terms of reading and note-taking, it's actually a lot more efficient to read through things multiple times rather than thinking I need to get everything down first time. So read through things the whole way through once without making a single note. Then you'll know what the significant points are, you'll know what the important bits are. So then you can read through it again and make notes, and that'll make things much, much quicker. The same applies to lectures as well. You've got access to MediaSite, so you just use the first, when you're actually in the lecture hall, to listen, to get a good overview. Then you can go back later on, pick out the key points from MediaSite, so you get more effective notes and you use your time more efficiently as well. So second year is a time where you really want to start making the most of your personal tutor. And remember as well, personal tutors aren't just about crisis management, it's about improving your work as a whole as well. So the main thing that I've really found useful with my personal tutees is going through and talking about feedback. And I've found several times you can really pick out the key thing, right, this is the big thing this student needs to work on. So it can make a big difference to improving the quality of your work overall. The other thing that's really crucial in second year is the special project. That really is one of the high points of the degree. It's something really distinctive about Bristol, and it's your chance to shine as well. We get a lot of people can get really good marks on a special project. So the most important thing here is to think about it as a piece of research. This isn't just another essay. So think about doing something which is original. Think about doing something which is your distinctive contribution to history. But then, that said, you need to make sure that it's a manageable size as well. You're not rewriting a whole subject here. Think about it more as a case study. So writing a small local example and then reflect on what that adds to our discussion of wider debates. My other key tip for the project as well is make sure you start with the sources, not the idea. You can have the best idea in the world, but if the sources don't exist for it or they're too hard to find, then you're going to be going down a blind alley. So start with the sources, and then you're not going to end up wasting your time with a wonderful idea that's never going to work. So third year, in terms of not getting too stressed, I think the key thing to remember is that actually each mark is a very small percentage of your degree. So don't panic if you get a 57, say, on one of your essays. A 63 elsewhere will pull that up quite quickly. It's a small percentage of the overall degree, and also the difference between one mark and another mark is a small percentage of that small percentage. So it all evens out in the long run. You'll find some units you're better at than others, and that's just natural. It does all average out. The other thing to remember as well is that there's more than one way to get a first. So don't worry too much if your average is just going to dip below 70, for example, or just dip below 60. As long as you get a mark of 58 or 68, and then 120 credit points at the higher mark band, so that's half of your units basically over the course of the second and third year, then you'll still get awarded the higher degree classification. The other thing that's really crucial in the third year is the dissertation. I know this really is the high point of your degree, so pick something you're going to enjoy working on. It's something you'll spend a lot of time working with. So go for something you're enthusiastic about, and that will mean you pick better work. Start early as well. So it's worth starting work on this in the summer of the second year, so you've got plenty of time, and you can be a bit more relaxed when you get into third year. In terms of how to produce the best piece of work possible as well, again, always start with your sources. So make sure you've got the primary sources, the evidence you need to write from in place right from the start. And in terms of making the best use of your supervisor, don't rely on them to drive the research process necessarily. This is your piece of research, and by the end you will end up knowing far more about it than they do. The best place to use them is thinking about how to frame it and how to structure it. So for example, how we plug this into wider debates, how we show what this is a useful case study for. I know as a supervisor, I've had students who've not really come to talk to me, and they've produced things which are ultimately very good pieces of research, but with just an hour's conversation, for example, about, okay, how are we going to frame this? How are we going to plug it into the historiography? It could have been made much, much better. So you've got that opportunity on offer, make sure you take it.